main focus point today is about long-term care, and there are different ways to cover for long-term care costs, and we all know the most straightforward way, and that is long-term care insurance. But unfortunately, a lot of carriers have left the long-term care space, as well as it's become very expensive, and a lot of them left because of the costs, right? They insured for a certain dollar amount, and those costs went way over due to healthcare cost inflation. And so what a lot of people tend to do now is self-insure, meaning they have a bucket that is set aside for that long-term care. And I think that's a great idea. It's a great idea. Now the question is, what type of account should that be in, as well as how should it be invested? Now, let's start with what a type of account. First is a long-term care bucket can reside within an account. It doesn't have to be the entire account. So understand that. But then from a tax perspective, what makes sense? The obvious choice is what was called the HSA, the Health Savings Account. Because withdrawals from an HSA account covering qualified healthcare expenses, which typically is most long-term care expenses that would qualify. So you have great tax benefits there. Problem is that for an individual, it's only a $4,300 a year limit. And for a family, it's $8,550. So it's not a lot of money to sock away each year. And then once you're covered by Medicare, you can't be covered by a high deductible health savings account that allows you to contribute to an HSA. That's one caveat here too. Is can you opt in through your employer or elsewhere to a high deductible health savings plan that gives you access to an HSA? So not everyone's going to. The limit is small, and then you can't do it after 65, and then you may not have access to a high deductible health plan that's economical for you. So I think it's a good place to start, but understand the limitations. And then on top of that, another reason why it's not the greatest is because when you are taking money out of that account, you're probably in a low tax bracket anyway, because you probably have a lot of expenses. You're obviously not working. You have a lot of healthcare expenses that you can deduct from your taxes. So you're probably in a low tax bracket. That's another reason why HSA is not the greatest place to self-insure for long-term care. So what's next? Well, it's probably an IRA. That makes the most sense because when you take money out of an IRA, that's income to you, but you can offset that with your expenses towards long-term care. So that's why an IRA probably makes the most sense for the bulk of that long-term care money. And then the HSA is kind of the backup. Now, how do you invest it? Well, just like any bucket that's long-term, you should probably heavily in equities. And you need to keep up with inflation, which, equities typically are the best hedge against inflation. One of the best hedges, so we say. So you need growth, and you need to take some risk for that. Now, if you're setting up a long-term care fund, say in your mid-60s, you're probably at least 15 years away from collecting or using that money. So you probably want to invest it in pretty much all equities. But once you probably at your mid to late 70s, that's when you want to scale back, right? Put some of those equities, especially during times like this where the market's up, scale that back and put some in bonds and cash. And then once you need long-term care, it's probably not you making the decision. It's probably somebody else in your family. They should also lower the risk and bring that almost all into cash because that's needed imminently. So that's the overview of long-term care, self-insuring of long-term care.